My family and my name have been totally and permanently destroyed by vicious and false additional accusations. As no doubt was expected, if not planned, came a long series of false last-minute smears designed to scare me and drive me out of the process before any hearing occurred. I'm never going to get my reputation back. My life is totally and permanently altered.
This drama that played out on the Hill today may not stop or even stall Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination. Republican senators met tonight to decide how to move forward. The verdict, there's no change to the schedule. Judiciary Committee expected to vote tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. here in the East. Full Senate will likely take up the nomination within the next few days, as early as Saturday. With us tonight to talk about all of it, former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance, who spent 25 years as a federal prosecutor, Eugene Robinson, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for The Washington Post, and Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee, former lieutenant governor of the great state of Maryland. Mr. Chairman, I've yet to talk to you all day.
Yes.
We had this situation today, Mr. Chairman, that where a sex crimes prosecutor from Maricopa County, Arizona, not that there's anything wrong with that, was questioning a sitting federal judge as designated woman to ask the questions and take the heat for the 11 white male Republicans on that side of the committee. Did that backfire, or did that turn out pretty well for them, do you think?
I think it fell very flat, to be honest with you, Brian. In fact, I think the general consensus emerging out of that was at the end, where I thought she just kind of punted, to be honest. She was not the prosecutor. You could almost see in the way she was asking the questions, two things going on in her mind. One, I got to somehow preserve my reputation out of this. And two, this woman is credible. She is telling the truth. And I think that made it much more difficult for her to pursue the line of questioning the way I think the Republicans on the committee envisioned it. So much so, and I think after that testimony, there was a lot of consternation and bubbling about the effectiveness of not the questioning, but the answers, to the point where I think it pushed all of this to a head with Senator Graham and others that wound up, they just said, forget this, we're going to take control of asking the questions of Kavanaugh.
Joyce, you were with us when this all played out. When he came out, it was just like he was going to throw the long ball. You heard him there say, my name has been destroyed, past tense. Well, you could argue not if you're still going to make your way to the Supreme Court.
You know, there was this incredible moment when I think everybody listening to him thought he's about to take his name out of consideration. And then he pushed past that through this toddler-worthy temper tantrum and staked out his right to be on the Supreme Court, his right to push past any sorts of allegations that were made against him. It was really a remarkable, and I don't mean that in a good way, sort of a moment.
Eugene, a good friend of mine who has a Pulitzer Prize, it's you, has written a column, and the title right here is, Just How Low Can Republican Senators Go? I'd love you to take a whack at answering your own question.
Well, look, if you had imagined earlier in the week, how bad can Thursday be? You wouldn't have been close to how bad it ended up. I mean, you just wouldn't have been close.
Yeah, give Thursday some time.
I will. It's a roundabout answer to your question. If you want to take a look at this with the widest possible lens, this is all part of, to quote my favorite American, now we are engaged in a great civil war, right? And this is a war between the America that was and the America that will be. And this is a very, very difficult transition. This war has many theaters and many fronts: race, diversity, age, urban, rural. There are lots of fault lines here. And it's becoming more like, to mix my war metaphors, like World War I. We're dug into trenches. Today, dug those trenches deeper, because Dr. Christine Blasey Ford was credible. I mean, she was totally credible. There's no mistaken identity. She happens to be qualified as an expert witness as well to testify in this case. So she knew exactly what was going on, not only what happened to her, but what was going on with her perception, her memory of it. She was as credible as you possibly could be. And when it came Judge Kavanaugh's turn, he decided to go full partisan.
Let it fly.
Just absolutely let her rip. And when the prosecutor, Rachel Mitchell, just happened to be asking him about specifics and was getting to that date that could be a potential date where this might have happened, because, you know, the skis with all these folks in July 1st, I think it is, 1982. That just happened to be the point where Lindsey Graham goes off and completely derails any sort of fact-finding, even in this venue. Not that we're going to have actual fact-finding by the FBI, which has been ruled out, but even in this venue, we couldn't even find out any facts. All we could do is dig the trenches deeper. And so there's going to be more fighting.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.